Sam, I'm asking you to extend the Chiral network to the south. That's our last, best hope of saving the world.
Like its predecessor, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach is an odd game full of a ton of unique mechanics. As a result of the way it dishes out information, some bits of knowledge can be overlooked if you aren't carefully reading the vast ocean of additional text logs and tutorials that DS2 bombards you with. To help anyone who's feeling like they've missed some crucial bits of information, here is a list of 7 things that Death Stranding 2 doesn't tell you, or that are easy to miss. Death Stranding 2 equips Sam with more gear and tactical options than ever before, but a lot of that arsenal can be missed out on if you just rush through the game without taking the time to increase the star rating of the various outposts and preppers scattered across the map. Each time you reach a new star level, you'll be given something new to play with, and if you level up a shelter to 5 stars, you'll get something super useful. You might notice that a lot of the gear you acquire by playing through the main story is only ranked as level 1. However, if you're looking for a better version of something that a facility gave you, if you increase their star rank, they'll frequently upgrade your gear. For example, a prepper gives you a level 1 shotgun when you complete the first order for him, but after turning in a few more packages, he'll give you the level 2 version, which deals more damage to humans and BTs, has increased range, and a higher ammo capacity. As you follow your delivery routes, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for lost cargo that you can deliver while on your way to where you're going. If you're not finding much on your own, find a nearby locker and check to see if it has any lost cargo that needs to be delivered from porters online. This is a good way to quickly level up your star rating with a facility, shelter, or prepper, while also helping out a few fellow porters to receive some likes. Speaking of likes, the social media like system makes a return in Death Stranding 2 and is just as mysterious as it was in the first game. Here's what you need to know about it. Likes are awarded by 2 different types of people, NPCs and other online porters. They're awarded in different ways, but both are used for the same thing. You get likes automatically anytime someone uses a structure, sign, or tool you've laid down in the world. But as a player gets close to your structure, they have the option to give you additional likes for a limited time by mashing the touchpad button. It's a good idea to consider the placement of structures and tools that will be the most helpful to other players before setting them up to maximize how many likes you'll receive from anyone using them. As a side note, if you end up using a structure that helped you out of a tight bind, it's nice to throw some likes on it to help out the other porter who lovingly created it for you. Likes are also awarded upon completing deliveries. Whenever you deliver packages to a facility, you'll get likes based on how quickly you made the delivery, how damaged the cargo is, how much extra cargo you're dropping off, etc. After turning everything in, you'll see your porter grade stats go up based on what you've done while completing the request. Likes essentially act as experience points that increase your porter grade and improve your stats, so it's very important for you to try and get as many as you can, as often as you can. The Strand, the piece of equipment that is, not the titular Death Stranding or the former presidents of the United States, is one of the most helpful tools in the game, but Death Stranding 2 doesn't do a lot to actually tell you that. The Strand can be used in combat against melee-wielding enemies to counter their attacks and tie them up, but it's also a key tool for keeping all your cargo from falling off your backpack. The game mentions in the tutorial that you can use it to secure your stuff, but it doesn't explicitly say how to do that. To secure your cargo, take your backpack off by holding the triangle button or using the cargo management menu, and then equip your Strand by hitting right on the D-pad. Approach the pack on the ground and use the Strand on it. Sam will tie everything together, which makes it much more secure and prevents cargo from flying everywhere if you lose your balance. This works on cargo in the floating container as well. As you get started with Death Stranding 2 and begin delivering cargo, you might notice a new UI element that looks like a neon red Q and X. This indicator is actually quite straightforward. It simply tells you if the area you're in is connected to the Chiral network. Because Sam's mission is to continue expanding the reach of the network, anytime you go somewhere new, it's safe to assume that you'll see the QX on the screen. But when revisiting older areas that have been connected, the red QX switches to a blue Q with what looks like a Wi-Fi symbol coming out of it. The indicator is an easy way to know if you should expect to be getting any help from any other porter's structures, or if you need to rely on fabricating your own tools. You also can't build any structures when outside the Chiral network, so if you need a timefall shelter, generator, or any of the others, make sure you do it before losing coverage. One of the most important things to consider as you make your deliveries is the state of your cargo. If it takes too much damage while en route, you'll receive fewer likes from recipients, which will net you less experience, and there are plenty of assignments in Death Stranding 2 that will flat out fail you if your cargo takes too much damage. One of the major ways your cargo can take damage while making deliveries is if Sam falls from too high a height. Fall damage affects Sam's overall health, but cargo takes fall damage too. While smaller falls might not cause Sam to lose any health, cargo tends to be a little bit more sensitive when recovering from drops. If there's a drop that's a little too small to justify using a climbing anchor and wasting resources on, but you know your cargo is going to take damage from, you can negate the fall damage for 2 pieces of cargo by taking it off your back and holding it in your hands. Be warned, if the drop is too far, you may lose your balance and drop all your cargo, which will damage it even more. But this is a solid tip for keeping your most precious cargo safe while you navigate some of the more treacherous areas in Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding is known for its excellent soundtrack of licensed songs, and Death Stranding 2 on the Beach returns with its own playlist of hits, including tracks like Don't Be So Serious by Low Roar, Minus 61 by Woodkid, and Nightmares by Churches. It'll take some time to gain access to it, but eventually you'll get an iPod-like music player that's full of new, licensed tracks that you can listen to as you make your deliveries. A music player was in the original Death Stranding, but now you can make playlists to listen to while trekking across the globe. When you get the player, you'll be able to control it through the menu. However, if you don't want to stop and navigate the menu when a track comes on that isn't quite hitting, you can actually skip tracks without slowing down. To do so, you can just hold down L1 to enter compass mode, and then hit R2 to quickly skip the current song. Unfortunately, you can't control the music player in other ways without opening the menu, but it's nice to be able to skip songs on the go. Death Stranding 2 does explain how private lockers work in a quick tooltip the first time you access one of them, but given the avalanche of information you need to take in, it's easy to overlook. When you put something in your private locker, it's only in the locker at that specific place, meaning if you want to pick up that item again, you'll need to make the trek back to the facility it was stored in. If you want to take things out of your private locker or put something in, you'll need to use the facility storage menu. You can also recycle unwanted items in your private locker by opening the Fabrication and Management menu and choosing Recycle and Store. Since lockers are specific to each location, it's a good idea to use the private locker on the DHV Magellan instead of the ones at individual storage facilities, since you'll be returning to the ship far more often than you will to the disparate structures littered across the world. If you need to see what's stored where, you can hit X when hovering over a facility in the map to view cargo in storage. So those are 7 things that Death Stranding 2 on the Beach doesn't tell you. There's a lot of information thrown at you as you get started, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. However, if you're feeling confused about other systems in the game, make sure to use the vast amount of information that can be found in the game's glossary. If you're in the dark about what happened in the previous game, you can also check out the in-game recap or watch our lengthier but far more detailed recap video. DS2 might be vague when it comes to audibly explaining things, but there's a fair amount of information that you might be missing if you aren't taking some time to do a bit of reading. Thanks for watching, and for more Death Stranding 2 tips and tricks, make sure to kick it with IGN.